When it comes to discussions around gender-affirming care, there is a great deal of focus on transgender youth and the support they're receiving. But there are also many older adults who transition later in life.
You've got to try a little kindness, just show a little kindness, just shine your light for everyone to see.
That is 66-year-old Buddy Wolf doing his rendition of the Glenn Campbell classic, Try a Little Kindness. Sounds good. Wolf is a client at the East Bay's Center for Elders Independence. And 5 years ago, he told the caregivers that he wanted to transition from female to male, and he'd wanted to as long as he could remember. The center began providing gender-affirming care with hormones and other therapies, allowing Wolf to become his true self. And he is part of a growing population of transgender adults who are over the age of 65. And this group often faces some profound challenges in accessing care. And for more on some of those challenges, we are joined here in studio by Buddy Wolf and Maria Zamora, who is the CEO of the Center for Elders Independence. Thank you so much for both taking the time today to talk about a really important issue. Buddy, you sound good in that video. Did you know you were going to make your singing debut here on the show?
No, I had no idea.
We really appreciate you coming in to share your story. What inspired you to begin your transition journey?
When I was either 5 or 6, I'm not sure. My mother tells the story. I never knew who Santa Claus was. I'm visually impaired, so I had no idea who Santa Claus was. And my mother took me to see Santa Claus. And she tells the story when I was put on Santa's lap. He asked me what I wanted. I told him I wanted to be a cowboy. Well, forget the cow part, you know. And my mother said that she kind of nodded and smiled at Santa Claus, and that for that Christmas I got my cowboy boots, my jeans, my vest, my shirt, my cowboy hat. I was all decked out and was one happy boy. I was very lucky through my life because my mother knew and understood. We didn't have a name for anything.
Right.
But my mother always understood, and she allowed me and encouraged me to be myself. And I was raised to be fiercely independent, and so I've taken care of myself as far as I can. And but I think the biggest trouble that I had after I got to the center, met up with my social worker, and she said, well, you know, you can start your transition at any time. And I said, well, what do I do? And she said, talk to the clinic. So I went in and I talked to the clinic, and I'm like, and okay, cool, how do I do this? And do I have to self-inject? And they're like, no, we'll do that for you. And I was like, hallelujah, because I couldn't get a clinic to do that. And being visually impaired, I can't see to draw up, you know, I mean,
yeah.
Because it's just such a minuscule amount that I take.
You needed additional support.
Yes, exactly. And so...
Was this something that would have been possible for you to transition without the support of the caregivers at the Center for Elders Independence?
No, not at all, not at all. When I met with Christina, who was a nurse practitioner at our clinic, and she gave me the rundown on, you know, how everything would happen and what would happen to me, and, you know, going through the process of transitioning. And because I started therapy immediately when I got there because I was so depressed. And it's like the first 60 years of my life, felt like I was an imposter. You know, it felt like I was always trying to be something that I wanted to be. And now I don't feel like an imposter anymore. In fact, June 12th, I'll be having my surgery. It's like, I can't imagine feeling any more whole than I do, but it's like...
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And no one else, it's like Medicare, Medi-Cal, you know, a lot of these clinics and stuff don't take it. So joining the center is like, they're paying for my surgery, my transportation, my care, pre-op, post-op, you know.
Right.
They take care of everything.
Yeah, and let's talk about some of the challenges that older adults who are transitioning are facing in the healthcare system, Maria. I want to put up a stat here so we have some perspective on what we're talking about. 1.3 million transgender adults here in the U.S., and 171,000 of them are over the age of 65. We know that this month, April, is National Minority Health Month, and I want you to talk about how important it is to improve and address some of the health disparities that we see for marginalized communities.
It's vitally important. You know, when we think about the delivery of health care in our country today, there are such large swaths of individuals who are just left behind by the healthcare system. They fall through the cracks, or they've never even really had access to the type of care and services that they need. And so you do hear the term healthcare equity often these days, but really this model that we operate, the PACE model of care, programs of all-inclusive care for the elderly, it was founded with the focus on health equity. It was really to find and serve underserved populations of older adults, and that's what we do every day. But you see stories like Buddy's, that statistic, 171,000, I think you said.
Yeah.
That's today. We know that the older adult population is growing exponentially in the next 20 years. So there will be far more older adults that will require services so that they can age with dignity.
All right. We're almost out of time here, Buddy, but what would you say to another person, another older adult who feels like they maybe aren't their true self?
The best thing that I can come up with, that I've thought about for the last 7 years that I've been a part of this program, is anyone who is a part of this community, no matter what part of the LGBTQ plus you are in. If you feel lonely, you're a senior, come to our program. It's all inclusive. We take, they take very good care of me. And if you come to the program and you want to meet me, I'll go to wherever you are, and I'll be there, and I will help you walk through whatever you need to, because that's what's most important, is not feeling alone. And I'm sure that the numbers are even higher than that.
Sure.
As a senior, I think fear beats me back a lot of the times. And, who's to say, I'm hoping that society changes, because with the laws that they're trying to overturn, it's getting harder and harder to find surgeons who do this,
right.
Still to this day. And government is really trying to change everything again.
Yeah, well, I'm really happy for you. I'm glad that you have found happiness here. Really appreciate you coming in, Buddy and Maria. Thank you for the time to talk about this really important issue.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate it. We're going to head to break. We'll be back now with more news.